Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you 3 super easy sheet pan dinners that make cleanup super easy. They're absolutely delicious, so keep watching to find out how to make these wonderful, amazing dishes. This first recipe is an all-in-one meal on one pan, so it makes cleanup super easy. So I'm starting out with some potatoes. I've got some little mini red potatoes and some mini of the, I think they're the Yukon Gold potatoes. You can really use whatever kind of potatoes you like. They can even be regular size, but I just like to buy the big bag of the mini ones at Costco. So I just scrub them really good to get any dirt off. And then I'm going to quarter them. The ones that are a little bit bigger, I'm gonna actually cut them in a little bit more than quarter size pieces just to kind of make them all even. So I'm gonna put those on one side of the pan, and then on the other side of the pan, you're gonna add your veggie, whatever kind of veggie you'd like. I have some Brussels sprouts here that were in the refrigerator that needed to be eaten up, so that's what I'm gonna use. I've got them all washed and cleaned, and I'm just going to cut them in half and lay them on the other side of my pan. This would be delicious with broccoli, cauliflower, green beans, whatever kind of vegetables. You can even do a mixture of vegetables. Like I said, this is an all-in-one meal, so whatever you would like to have for dinner that night as your veggie, just put that on the other side. And now it is time to add our chicken onto the middle here. I've got some partially thawed boneless skinless chicken breasts. If they're completely thawed, that's going to be best, but mine weren't completely thawed. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut them in half, and later on I actually did end up slicing them in half again just because they were so thick. So you're gonna wanna put those right in the middle, and you can use chicken thighs, you can use chicken breasts, whatever. And then you're gonna drizzle a little bit of oil of your choice over the top. And then I like to get in there with my fingers and just kind of mix it all around just to get the oil everywhere. And now time for the seasonings. For my potatoes, I am doing Costco's organic no salt seasoning just for the potatoes. And then for the Brussels sprouts, I'm going to use Trader Joe's everyday seasoning. And then for the chicken in the middle, I'm going to use some lemon pepper in this grinder from Trader Joe's, as well as the vegan chickenless seasoning from Trader Joe's. I'm gonna salt the entire pan and put a little pepper on the entire pan. Now you can just make all the seasonings the same across the board. Tonight I just wanted to do a little bit of seasonings for each different thing here, but you can totally be creative, use your imagination, what you have on hand. So once you get all your seasonings on, you're gonna want to stir them each individually, and then I flip over my chicken and make sure I season the other side of the chicken. You're gonna wanna bake this in about a 350-degree preheated oven for about 30 to 35 minutes or until the chicken's done. About halfway through, I took the pan out and I stirred everything up, and I ended up turning up the oven to about 400 just to kind of roast everything just a little bit more. Once it was done, or I thought it was done, I took it out and I put a thermometer in the center of the thickest part of the chicken, and you want to make sure it registers at 165 degrees. That way you know it's done. And here it is, all completed. It is a one-pan meal. You've got your side, your chicken, and your veggies all in one pan. It makes for super easy cleanup, and you can get creative using different veggies, different seasonings. This was a very easy cleanup meal, and I hope you guys will give it a try. Next up, we have sheet pan fajitas. I've got some bell peppers here. I've got an orange one, a red one, and a green one. You can totally mix and match whatever colors, or you can even do all of one color, whatever you have on hand. I'm going to slice those up and then cut each slice in half, just because I like a little bit smaller chunks in my fajitas. So I'm gonna put those onto a greased baking pan. I'm also going to put some onion on there. I have this ginormous, monstrous onion from Costco, so I'm just gonna use half of it, and I'm gonna slice it up and again cut the slices in half just so they're a little bit smaller. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do my meat. Now I'm using some boneless skinless chicken breasts, and I'm going to cut them up into cubes just because, again, I like smaller chunks. You can use chicken tenderloins, that would even be quicker, but you may have to cut them a little bit smaller later. So I'm just kind of saving a step here and cutting it now. I'm I'm gonna mix our seasonings into a small bowl off to the side. So I've got a couple tablespoons of oil, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, and a couple shakes of smoked paprika. You can also do a little bit of salt and pepper to your taste. You can also add some garlic powder, but I'm choosing to squeeze in some fresh garlic. I've got just 1 clove here, and then I'm going to give that a quick stir before I pour it over my chicken. Now, if you want to even save on dishes, you can just add your seasonings right to your pan instead of a small bowl, but I'm just going to drizzle this over the top and then use my hands to just incorporate everything in there together. Like I said, if you don't want to mix it into a small bowl just to make it all easier cleanup, you can definitely just sprinkle it on the top and then mix it all in with your hands. Bake this in a preheated 425-degree oven for about 25 minutes. Now, halfway through, I did go ahead and take it out and stir it around. And then just let it continue to cook until the chicken is cooked thoroughly and the veggies are tender. Go ahead and take it out of the oven and squeeze some fresh lime over the whole pan. And then I've got some fresh cilantro that I've chopped up. If you don't have fresh cilantro, you can add a teaspoon of the dried cilantro in with your seasonings before you cook it. Then just go ahead and give that a good stir and you are good to go. I like to cook up some of the uncooked fresh tortillas. Oh, these are so good. So I'm just gonna pile that on top with some tomatoes from our garden. You can also add cheese, salsa, lettuce, beans, rice, whatever you'd like. And this is an absolutely delicious meal that I hope you'll try. Super easy and wonderful. So the last recipe I have for you guys is beef and broccoli. So in my bowl, I'm gonna take a couple tablespoons of oil. If you have sesame oil, that would be the best. A couple teaspoons of vinegar, 1/3 cup of coconut aminos. You can use soy sauce, but I don't like to do soy, so I'm using coconut aminos. 3 cloves of garlic, and then a half a teaspoon of salt since my coconut aminos aren't very salty, and then a half a teaspoon of ground ginger. So for my meat, I'm going to be using a cube steak, which is a round steak that has been cubed to just kind of tenderize it a little bit, since cube steak can be a little bit tougher of a cut of beef. But I find that if you cook it long enough, then it's usually not that tough. You can use like a New York strip steak or a top sirloin or whatever kind of beef cut that you would like. So I'm just going to cut mine into strips and then into cubes and add it right into my little marinade here. Thumbs up to my little kitchen helper here. She absolutely loved helping me and stirring in the raw meat into the marinade. So once you have that all nice and stirred in there, you're gonna let that sit for about 15 to 30 minutes. I like to do that first so that way I can go ahead and prepare my broccoli next. I'm just using some washed and ready to go bagged broccoli. I'm gonna spray my cookie sheet with some non-stick cooking spray. And then these broccoli florets in here are pretty large, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut them up just a little bit smaller so they'll cook more evenly. Just use as much broccoli as you think you'll need. I like to just fill up my whole pan, keeping in mind that it will shrink as it cooks. Then go ahead and take your beef and marinade and pour it over the top of your broccoli. And then I like to get in there with my hands and just mix it all because you want the juice to kind of get on the broccoli as well. Now if you want this to be really juicy, you can actually double the marinade, but I find that the broccoli and the meat kind of make its own juices. It's not a super juicy meal, but it didn't bother us at all. But just keep that in mind. If you do want more juicy, then just go ahead and double the recipe. Bake this in a preheated 425-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. And again, I took it out halfway through, stirred it around. If you like your steak really done, then go ahead and cook it till about the 20-minute mark. or until it's done, as you please. If you like it a little bit more rare, which I do not, please don't hate me for that, you can cook it for about 12 to 15 minutes, so just adjust it according to your liking. But again, this is a little bit tougher of a cut of meat, so I like to let it cook longer just so it's more tender. I like to serve this up with some white jasmine rice from Trader Joe's. This turned out absolutely delicious. I hope you guys will give these recipes a try. Leave me a comment down below telling me which one is your favorite. Check out the links in the description box for the inspiration for these recipes. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.